So Terry Fox Run is happening September 15th at Clayton Tenay Memorial Park.
Okay.
Registration starts at 9 and then the run starts at 10. This is very close to home just because my grandpa was the one who started the Prince George to Boston Marathon in 1974 and he was the race organizer in 1979. So he was the one who told Terry that yes, you can compete in the Prince George to Boston, and he actually rerouted the course for Terry and for Rick Hansen, because Rick Hansen came up that year, and they ran through the Miller edition because they were supposed to go up the staircase on Connaught Hill, which they couldn't do. So they ran through the Miller edition. So we actually run a part of the route that Terry ran on in 1979, and then we all know that after he ran his marathon, the 17 miles here, he knew that he was ready to run across Canada for his Marathon of Hope in the spring. And it's such a special connection that we have, Prince George has to Terry Fox. And so I'm really honored to continue that legacy and continue my grandpa's legacy. It's happening on the 15th. We've got lots of people coming. The Prince George Cougars just said that they're going to come. And so it's going to be a great day.
And more people could come from the region and the area, or from Vancouver or anywhere else, right?
Everyone's welcome. You can register online. You can register at the event. It's free. Obviously, fundraising or bringing a donation is always welcome, but you don't have to. You can just come to the park for a lovely Sunday morning stroll with your family
and then
friends.
another celebration to Terry Fox and all the things that he did.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Hello, I'm John Brink and we are podcasting on the Brink from downtown Prince George, British Columbia. And for all those people from around the world, they say, we know where Canada is, and we know British Columbia, we know the big city, Vancouver. Where is Prince George? Well, we are 500 miles or 800 kilometers for our friends in Europe away from Vancouver, which puts us physically in the center of British Columbia, big province. And we live in harmony with nature. It is beautiful here. Within 50 miles, we have 100 lakes. We have black bears, we got grizzlies, we got caribou, we got deer, you name it, we have it. It is nature's paradise. Today, very, very interesting guest and a friend, Sylvia Masich.
Hello.
Hi Sylvia, how are you doing?
I'm great, how are you?
I'm doing well. Now, Sylvia is a diehard Taylor Swift fan.
Yes.
Road bikes, speed skater, track and field, social and media enthusiast, a longtime coach and volunteer with the Prince George Blizzard Speed Skating Club, Special Olympics BC, and a Prince George Track and Field Club, 2022 grad of BCIT Radio Arts and Entertainment Program.
Yes.
Now the other part that I think interesting I want to mention, she is also a former broadcaster with the Pattison Media, that is the local, for all those friends watching us from around the world, a media station with the goal to be an elementary school teacher.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, were you born here?
I was born here, born and raised.
Born and raised.
Yes.
And so you're such an amazing background. So you went to high school here.
Yeah, Duchess Park. Go
Duchess
Condors.
Park. Yeah. So, and I've been there many times in supporting, sports and giving presentations, doing all those kind of things. One of our favorite schools in the Prince George region. And so what was your plan? What did you want to do for a career?
So when I graduated high school, I wanted to become a high school teacher.
Yeah.
Both my parents are teachers, so I've grown up around it. And I left high school and I realized that, I don't actually want to go back to high school. And that summer after high school, I received, I was offered the fun chaser position with Pattison Media, and I took that and I absolutely loved it.
How old were you then?
I was freshly 18.
My God,
yeah.
pretty young.
Yeah, and so I took it and I absolutely fell in love with the industry. And I did the fun chaser position for 2 years. 6 months in, COVID hit, so my job drastically changed because there were no events to go to.
No.
But I still persevered. I decorated the entire office with over 300 hearts and threw memes everywhere. And I was like the little fairy that spread cheer and happiness when everyone was like, what is going on in the world? And then a year into my position, I started going to school at BCIT for radio. They made the year online.
British Columbia's Institute of Technology.
Yes.
In Vancouver.
Yes.
Big university or college, whatever they want to call it. 40,000 students.
It's crazy. They have so many part-time students, so many full-time students. It's a very busy campus.
I made several presentations there, and this one time I came there and they said it's in, I forget now what's about it. And I stood there, and that is all buildings. How am I ever going to find the place I have to speak to? So finally somebody said to me, are you lost? Yeah, I'm lost. Yeah, okay. So they let me there, but it's big.
And they keep building more buildings.
Yeah.
When I was there, because so the first year was online, and then the second year was in person. When I was there, I think they were building 3 or 4 buildings already. So.
And I think they allotted another $270 million to build more buildings.
Yeah.
What bothers me is we have to do more here in northern BC, and I've been pushing for the Center of Technology here in northern British Columbia, and so hopefully at some point that will happen.
It's great that we have the CTC program and the college, because I know I've coached so many kids who are going through the CTC program. And
CTC is what?
Oh no, I don't know what it stands for, but it's at the trades program.
Oh yeah.
Through the college.
Yeah.
Where you're like grade 11, grade 12, you go,
right.
You do trades, and lots of kids I've coached have done that program.
So maybe it is the John A. Brink Trades and Technology Center.
Yes, that's what it is. Yes.
Oh my God, Sylvia, that's my name. No, I'm just joking.
Sorry,
yeah.
I should know better.
No, I'm just being funny. Because the interesting part about it is that most of the names on buildings are people that are dead. So, and I'm still very much alive. Anyway, so I because I believe in so much in trades and technology, doing more and more of that, because there's a major shortage here of people that understand and do trades. But I want to go further than that. I want to have a miniature BCIT here, and actually we committed $1 million towards studying of a trades center of excellence, I call it, and so far they're talking about it, but they haven't done it. Maybe we'll put some pressure on the politicians.
It'd be awesome to have something like that up here, like more.
So important, right?
Yeah, help. We're already such a hub for the North. Just become more of a hub.
So what comes to mind with me, you're a very preppy individual, very happy individual, and you're a very good communicator. And you have the way I feel you have confidence in who you are. And that's so good to see.
Thank you.
How did you get that? But you have the confidence. I didn't, that I had a difficult time speaking in public for a long time, until I went to Toastmasters actually, and they taught me, and then I was a bit of a disaster in school. I failed grade 3 and failed grade 7 3 times.
Oh my goodness. No, I think I got it really from just my parents. They're very outspoken.
Yeah.
They're very confident, and I just picked it up from them.
Yeah.
And I kind of just ran with it. I didn't hesitate. And
have you got any siblings?
I have a younger sister.
Younger sister?
Yes.
That's the one that you want to shadow with.
Pardon? Yes, went to Taylor Swift with. Yeah, we went to Taylor Swift together.
So when did you do that? When did you go down there?
We went to Seattle in July of last year.
Yeah.
So
wow.
It was
How was it?
Amazing. It was incredible.
20,000 people there?
More like 70,000. And then there were a ton of people outside of the stadium as well. And it was incredible. It was so much fun. And every show she plays 2 surprise songs.
Yeah.
And one of the surprise songs she played has been my ringtone for the past almost 3 years. So I was very excited.
Wow.
It was great. I think about that day all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What makes her so popular, other than the ability to sing? Is it how she presents herself, or what makes her so attractive to young people in particular? Is it an inspiration?
I think it's her lyrics are so relatable because so many of her songs off her earlier albums she wrote when she was a teenager. So when you're struggling with being a teenager and trying to figure out the world, there's a Taylor Swift song that sings about it. When you go through your first heartbreak, there are entire albums that help you get through that. And so she's just relatable. Her lyrics are really relatable, and they're personable, so you can really relate to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's easy, I think, for so many people when they don't feel like they have someone to talk to, they can turn to Taylor Swift and be like, oh, she's been there, I got this.
Yeah, and that's so critically important, right? Now the other thing that I see with you is, you've been so involved with a lot of stuff, like in sports in particular. Talk to us about that. Speed skating. I grew up doing speed skating. I grew up in Northern Holland, and I was there till I was 23, then came to Canada. But, that speed skating was something that I did. Playing soccer is what I did. And then judo is what I did. Oh,
cool.
Yeah, I'm brown belt actually, and but I didn't do it after that. When I came in 1965, there was really nobody that did judo here. That has changed, obviously.
We have some incredible judo athletes here.
Amazing, and I've had them here on as guests, and so how did you get involved in sports?
So track and field came from my family. My grandpa started the Prince George Track and Field Club here, so it that just came naturally. I joke that I grew up at the track. My parents, when I was 6 weeks old, they brought me to Edmonton to watch the World Championships, and there's pictures of Dylan Armstrong holding me as I'm like 6 weeks old, and it's so I've always been involved in track in that aspect. Right. And then for speed skating, my mom used to be a PE teacher, and she did a Pro D-Day camp, and that involved speed skating. And she fell in love with it and thought, this is the sport that I want to get my family involved in. So when I was 5, she put me in it. First practice, I absolutely hated it. And then after that, I was hooked. And I've been doing that this will be my 18th season.
So you still do speed skating?
I still speed skate, yeah. I actually raced for the first time in 7 years back in January at provincials. It was so much fun.
Yeah, provincially?
Yeah.
And we have some very, very good speed skaters here on an international level, right?
Yeah, Carolina Hiller.
Yeah.
I've looked up to her since I was 5.
Yeah.
Because I was in the club at the same time as she was, and she's always been an inspiration.
So where was she again? Calgary? Or
She's in Calgary, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. And then you did a lot of other things, Special Olympics, BC, the Prince George Track and Field Club, so more sports. Your sister doing the same, or?
My sister, she's a big dancer. She does Highland dancing, so she's really involved with Highland dancing and she helps teach and everything. And it's awesome.
I think your parents play a big role in all of that, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, my mom was a speed skating coach. Both my parents were track and field coaches.
Yeah.
We'd go to the track and we'd walk into the stadium, and right away my dad became Bill and my mom became Corrine. And like, you are my coaches now, you're not my parents. And so I was surrounded by coaches my entire life. My grandpa had been a coach his entire life, and so getting to see the impact that they had on athletes, whether that be at the track or you're at the grocery store and you run into their parents and they're excited to fill my parents in on how their kid's doing at university on a track scholarship or something like that, is really cool. Yeah. And so that I've just been surrounded by that my entire life. Yeah.
So many young people now are struggling, and have challenges looking forward. I do a lot of presenting. I think you were there when you remember this book here?
Yes.
You were there when
I was there, yeah.
Yeah, you were not only there, you were also when I had the first signing at the bookstore here.
Yes, yeah.
Finding your passion, living the dream, and as you know, that what I found about that, and that's the reason that I did it, because I present a lot to young people, to schools, high schools, colleges, universities, and a lot of times when I do presentations, I ask people, young people in particular, what do you plan to do, you know, in your life after you finish school? And a lot of them say, well, I don't know, you know, and say it'd be good, respectfully, to kind of check it out, right? So you want to be a truck driver, talk to truck drivers, say what is all involved, what do you do, how does it affect you, what is the future, blah, blah, blah. Or you want to be a builder, a carpenter, or you want to be a contractor, what's involved? Or I suggest to them, a lot of people like to talk to young people in particular and saying, I'm kind of checking what should I do for a career. Maybe you want to be a doc, or maybe a lawyer, or maybe an entrepreneur, or a businessman or a CEO of a company, or an accountant, or whatever, right? And so that's usually, because then what is important is that, the reason that I say that is that I saw a show on one of the US channels, and they said that, and I believe Canada is the same, that in the US, 75% of the people that work don't like their job. And 70% of that 75% are looking for another job. And I say, you know, like, as I said, I was not successful. I left school at the time that I was 13. I'm 83 now, so I've been working for 70 years. And a fair question would be is saying, okay, John, are you living the dream? I am. Even now, every day when I get up, usually at 5:30 in the morning, I always make my bed, and I always think I'm late. So I do. And I still, every day, I love doing what I'm doing. I usually work 12 hours a day or whatever it is, and I enjoy it, you know. And that is so important. And
I
so,
agree.
Yeah. And so that's why, for young people in particular, and that you are an inspiration to me and the people that are watching, because you're so actively involved in so many things, and you know, and then at 18 became a presenter on a radio station. That's it. That would be some intimidating thing, because
It was.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you did it,
Yeah.
and so you did it well.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did. And because all of a sudden you're in front of that camera, and then you have potentially 10,000 people, you know, there's about 120,000 people in the region, probably 80,000 in Prince George. You can have 5, 6, 7, 8,000 people watching you, and
Oh yeah, and there were, because I would go through the grocery store, like at the cashier, and this during COVID, so I'm wearing a mask and everything, and cashier would recognize me. She's like, "Are you the fun chaser?" And I'm like, "Oh yes, I am."
Yeah.
So, but I'm grateful, you know, that opportunity came up because I said yes to opportunities in high school that led me to that path. And I think for so many people, it's just say yes to the opportunities that come forth, because you'd never know where that might take you.
Is then what you are telling your peers in your age group, and what I always say, is that you have to have confidence. And what I say a lot of times to young people in particular is that there is only one of us, one, in the whole world that is like us. And to have that confidence, for me it took a long time before I had that confidence, a very long time actually. And so I don't think I'm better than, I'm simply, you know, I know that I can do it. And when I decide that I can, then I work very hard to make sure that I do it right. And I believe whatever I do, I want to do, I give it 125%.
Yeah, totally. And if you make a mistake, it's okay because you're going to learn from your mistake.
And that's what you do, right? So
Yeah.
the other thing, I got something here. I came here and in July of 1965, and from Holland. Couldn't speak the language, didn't know soul, didn't have a job. And I came off the bus here, the Greyhound station, used to be there. I think it burned down now, but we know the location, you know the location. You know? So, and I had my suitcase, I had 3 books, 2 sets of clothes, and I counted my money at least 3 or 4 times. I had $25.47, but what I had lots of is attitude, I always, no matter, I avoid negative. If people are around me negative, I don't want nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Because I'm a believer in no matter how tough today is, I know tomorrow is going to be a better day.
Totally.
The other one is passion. Whatever I do, I give it 120%. And then the other one is work ethic. Whatever I do, I work harder than anybody, but will follow is success. That's the way it is. Attitude, passion, work ethic. And those are the opportunities. And I believe that is very, very important. But to have that confidence, not better than, but simply have the confidence and is very, very important.
And it's tough sometimes. There's having to take that step forward. It's like if you go skydiving, like the hardest part is taking the step off the plane.
Exactly.
You just have to take the step forward, and then it becomes easier after.
Yeah, I used to be in the Air Force, so I did some of that. And the parachutes were not as good then.
Oh,
when I was in the Air Force as they are now. They put you there. It was delicate, to say the least. But so you're absolutely right. But it's also a land of opportunity, right? And so as you now go forward and looking at you're involved with the Cherry Fox Run. That is on September the 15th, actually celebrating Cherry Fox.
Yeah.
And Cherry Fox, again, Cherry Fox was a fellow that had part of his leg missing. I think it was his right leg. And he was going to run across Canada from coast to coast. And he became a real hero. And he had a case of cancer, and then while he was running in Ontario, the cancer came back.
Yeah.
And but he still remembered very much so.
Yeah.
And an inspiration still.
An incredible inspiration.
And it raised millions and millions and millions of dollars.
They're almost at $1 billion raised.
Yeah.
For cancer research through the Terry Fox Foundation.
Unbelievable. Really.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and an inspiration for all of us, right? So it is, I appreciate you being involved and recognizing that. So as you look forward now, in particular your age, you're still so young, where do you want to go from here?
I want to become an elementary school teacher.
Oh, you want to go back?
Yeah, I wanted to become a high school teacher when I graduated high school.
Yeah.
Got into broadcasting, and then I did broadcasting for almost 5 years.
Yeah.
And then I realized I got back into coaching because I'd moved away. I lived in Vancouver for about 1.5 years and really stepped away from my coaching. Yeah. And then I came back to Prince George and I got involved with track and field and Special Olympics and speed skating, and I realized, I really like working with kids. This is what makes me happy. This is what
I do too.
Fills my bucket every day.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my parents one day, and my mom said, "You would be a really good elementary school teacher."
Yeah.
And so I took the leap and applied to be a sub with the school district, and I've been subbing with the school district.
That's up to grade 8, right?
Grade 7 here.
Grade 7.
Yeah, grade 7 here. But Prince George does it differently because we don't have a middle school, but other communities have middle schools, and it's a whole thing. But so I really quite enjoyed kindergarten to grade 7 and working with those kids.
So that is up to the age of
12.
12. Mm-hmm. So my youngest daughter, Tina, she is also a teacher, arts in particular, but she does pot making. How do you call that?
Oh, pottery. And,
Pottery.
oh,
She's
fun.
very, very good, very committed as you know, as a teacher. Yeah, she just loves it.
It's incredible, and I've enjoyed it so much so far.
So rewarding, right?
It is. It's really rewarding, and just seeing kids out and about after I've been in their class, and they're like, "Oh, hi, Miss Masich, how's it going?" And they're excited to see me, and I'm like, "Wow, we only knew each other for a day. We've interacted for a day, and you're excited to see me a few weeks later."
Yeah.
That's really cool, and seeing them for small things to click. I remember I was out at Blackburn one time, and I was helping these girls learn how to ride a bike, and it was so rewarding just seeing it click for them, and for one girl to have the confidence from not wanting to be on the bike at all to riding the bike.
Yeah.
It was incredible. It
Amazing,
was such a good feeling. Yeah.
So you really love it, and again, that's where the future is. And then I still remember, even from my time in school, from some of the teachers that stood out, and that always stays with you as you grow up. Really.
Yeah, I can recall some of my favorite teachers and how much they've inspired me throughout the rest of elementary school, throughout the rest of high school, and then even now.
Right.
Yeah.
So are you still involved in sports that you're doing right now? You're doing the Wheeling Warriors. Are you doing something there now? Because they are... Maybe tell us about the Wheeling Warriors.
Yeah, I joined the Wheeling Warriors team in 2021.
Yeah.
I cycled as a cross training for speed skating in my teenage years, and then I stepped away. When I stepped away from the sport competitively, I also stepped away from cycling. And then I actually, in 2020, the spring of 2021, I sprained my ankle.
Oh.
I was going for a run, and I ran into a pothole, and I sprained my ankle. And I was really bummed because I was really excited to get into running.
Yeah.
And then I ran into a friend, and she said, "Well, why don't you try cycling? Because you're not going to be putting that much pressure on your ankle, and it'll be good." I got hooked. I was so excited to get back on the bike, and I was riding to work, and I was riding almost every single day. And then I was approached by Ron and he asked, "Oh, do you want to join Wheeling Warriors?" And I thought, yeah, that'd be awesome. It's a fantastic cause. It'd be really great. So I did it. I joined in 2021, which was the local ride. So we rode out to Purdon and back. And then I've joined every year since then. And so 2022 was our first ride post-COVID down in the Lower Mainland. And that was a really challenging ride for me personally, because I had barely trained that year. Yeah. And I had signed up to do the 160 again. And I was one of the last people to cross the finish line. Actually, it was myself and my new friend that I had made on the course, Alex. We were the last two to cross. They pretty much started tearing everything down, and it was empty. But at the end of the finish line were a bunch of Wheeling Warriors cheering me on and cheering my friend Alex on, and that was really inspiring, because it was. As I was riding, I was thinking, okay, why am I doing this? Why am I putting myself through this? Like, why? And I thought about it, and it was, okay, in 1979, Terry Fox came to Prince George. He ran in the Prince George to Boston Marathon. He signed up to do 8.5 miles. And
that's what triggered him to do the run.
It is what triggered him to do it.
That's what did it.
Yeah, and he signed up to do 8.5 miles. He kept going. He ran the 17 miles, and he knew he was ready to run across Canada. So I thought in my head, Terry didn't give up that day. Why should I give up?
Exactly.
My friend Jocelyn had just found out she was 100% cancer-free after battling her entire grade 12 year.
Yeah.
The day before she found out she was cancer-free, and I thought, I can't give up for her. No. I'd lost 2 coworkers to cancer, and I thought, I can't let them down. And so there are all these things that as I was reflecting, going, okay, I can't let these people down. Like this is why I'm doing it. It's because of them, because their lives have been dramatically impacted by this. And so that was 2022. 2022 was a really big year for me personally on the team. And then last year, 2023, I rode again. I did the 160. I have a tendency of meeting random people on the ride, and then we just stick together and we ride throughout. So I had met this girl named Ashley, and she had lost her mom 4 weeks before to cancer. So while we were riding, I shouldn't be admitting this, but I am, they canceled the ride halfway through when we were at our lunch stop. They said, okay, you need to stop cycling. We're going to have vehicles come pick you up and drive you to camp. And she looked at me and she said, I need to finish this. And I looked at her and I said, I've ridden most of this with you. Like, let's go. We were on top of Sumas Mountain, so all we had to do was go downhill and then ride through Chilliwack, which is really flat. So getting to ride with her was a huge honor because it was a very emotional year for her, and to be on the ride with her was really special.
Yeah.
And then this year I didn't ride, but I went down as crew and I helped out in the vehicles, and that was also really fun. Just cheering everyone on, and it was so cold and so rainy on the first day, and Lisa and I had music cranked in the car and we're cheering everyone on, and you could see everyone, their smiles start perking up on the cyclists' faces, because it's, we have like I Got a Feeling by Black Eyed Peas just pounding out of the car, and it was good. So it's an incredible team to be a part of, and it's so fun, and the connections you make with people in the community and the friends you make, it's lifelong.
And it's again, the money that they have raised, I believe, is over $1 million.
It's almost $2 million.
We're
so close to $2 million.
And the money stays here. And this region, and Prince George Hospital, University Hospital of Northern British Columbia, it's a Northern British Columbia hospital, and the cancer clinic that we have is amazing. I had one of the fellows here, I don't know if you saw it, Dirk Groten.
Oh yeah.
Who's a friend, and his daughter Megan, is
another judo athlete.
Yeah,
correct? Yeah,
she's judo.
Yeah,
and so we had him, but it was interesting. I don't know. You know Dirk?
I know of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a technician at the cancer clinic.
Okay.
And they have some amazing people there, and we've been quite involved in the cancer clinic. Which was interesting about it for me. I was born in northeastern Holland.
Okay.
And have you been in Holland?
I've been to Amsterdam, yes.
Oh, you've been there.
Yes.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So I lived in Amsterdam for a bit, but I was born in northeastern Holland.
Okay.
And they speak dialect there. And the dialect that we speak there, it's not a language, but it's a dialect. So if I speak dialect, most of the people in Holland can understand me. And at the same time, when I grew up speaking dialect, I loved dialect. And so when I went into when I was 17, I was drafted into, in my case, the Air Force for 2 years. And then I had to learn to speak High Dutch.
Oh, wow.
But then they can hear saying, oh, you got an accent. It's, oh, you're a farmer, you're from there, right? So, which is interesting. So, I love the dialect, but I don't really speak dialect here. My wife is Canadian, and then I seldom interact with other Dutch people for no particular reason, but I'm so Canadianized for the last 60 years that, so in any event, with Dirk Groeten, he grew up less than 10 kilometers away from where I grew up.
Oh, wow.
And he speaks dialect.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So what we did is during the podcast, we were speaking English. And then I already told them beforehand, we want to speak part dialect. And so we switched over for about 5 minutes speaking dialect.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then the other thing that we did is he brought his daughter, who got a gold medal actually in Florida.
Wow.
Yeah, for judo, and so she was there for the last as well, and shows the model of the medal, and but so that was kind of interesting to have somebody speak dialect.
Yeah, that's special. That's really cool.
Now, podcasting, as you already know from your experience in the media. So as we are sitting here, most of the podcasting, initially I started this probably 6 or 7 years ago, and initially blogging, and I liked interaction.
Right.
And then we decided to do something with Dan Shaw on television, and on that local program, I forget now how do you call that, but we're still on there sometimes now, but not in person, but doing some of my podcasting. But we did a small program dealing mainly with the lumber industry and local celebrities of some sort, or knowledgeable people. And then COVID came, as it did for you, and we could not do that anymore there. So then we said, what do we do now? And so I had this apartment here. So well, maybe what we should do is make this a studio.
It's beautiful. It's very nice.
Yeah. So
and you have a lovely view of downtown Prince George too, like the cut banks right there.
Perfect, right?
It's gorgeous, yeah.
And on the 4th floor on the corner. And then I have a good team around me, Andrew and Scott. And so we said, okay, let's do it well if we do it. So we got this all set up as a studio, 2 of the benches. I like the setting like this.
Yeah.
And so we have, as you know, lots of celebrities in the Prince George region. And so we interviewed numerous of them. And then at some point we said, okay, well, maybe I said, maybe what we have to do is set up another studio in Vancouver. I have an apartment in Yaletown.
Okay, nice.
And then the more we thought about it, saying, how about virtual?
Yeah.
And saying, I was watching CNN, ABC, CBS, and all the other ones. And you see the screen with all the individuals, 1, 2, 3, 4 individuals, or 3, or what. One is from here, the other from there, from all around the world. And saying, maybe, we said, that's maybe something that we should do. So we started to do virtual, and then made sure that we had the right cameras. And as you can see, this is the main camera, but we have another camera that moves back and forth there, another one there. So we have all the best equipment. So whatever we do, and you know that as a broadcaster, that same as television, it's so important that you have the right equipment.
Yes. For sure.
And so that's what we did. And then from there on in, we started doing virtual podcasting. But then the challenge is, how do you meet the right individuals? And that's usually the biggest challenge with podcasting. So there is now an organization, they call it ProdMatch. And so what they do, you become a member, and they're matching different memberships from around the world.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So that's what they do. So right now we are on, I believe you are probably, I'm just guessing, somebody will correct me, 304 or 305?
Wow.
305.
Wow.
Yeah, podcast.
That's incredible.
Where I'm the presenter, the host, and then we have done probably between Shaw and the other ones where I'm a guest, and Shaw probably did about 30 or 40 with Shaw, and then we did probably 150 on virtual where I'm a guest of somebody else's podcast.
Wow.
So probably close to 500.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of podcasts.
Isn't it, eh?
Yeah.
So, and then the podcast that we're doing is so interesting about it is around the world. I get it from Australia, Africa, China, Europe, all over the place.
That's awesome.
And then the other thing that I'm doing is that podcasting is still on its infancy, because as we are sitting here, you and me, or if you were virtual, you would be on that television there, and then we know we have a conversation as you and me together here, but the same if you would be there, we have that conversation. It feels virtually the same as we do, because if it is good quality.
Right.
And then we already know that the people watching around the world is probably 10,000 or more people are watching us. Even as you and me are sitting here, once it is on, we have on YouTube, we are at 360,000 subscribers.
Wow, that's incredible. That's a lot.
And we are, I'm not saying bragging, well, I'm bragging about it, why not, right? So, but what I'm saying is that we, around the world, there are probably in excess of 5 million podcasters, we are in the top 1%.
Wow.
Can you believe it?
That is awesome.
And it's just still beginning. It's going to go much further.
That's awesome. That is, and it's here. It's in Prince George.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
In Prince George, and and that's why it's important for me. I always do a little piece about Prince George, and usually what I tell them is not to tell too many people because otherwise they all want to come and live here.
Oh, it's such a good little hidden secret. I love it here. It's such a wonderful community and everyone's so friendly. That was one thing when I lived in Vancouver I missed so much.
Yeah.
Was just the casual conversations you'd have with people in line at the grocery store, or the smiles that you'd give people on the sidewalk. If you smiled at someone in Vancouver, they'd give you a weird look.
Yeah.
Going like, why are you smiling at me? Or
yeah.
even the basic things of holding the door open for someone.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen down there, and that was
No.
really hard for me to adjust to, and I didn't actually adjust to it, so I just came back. Yeah.
No, and that's what happens a lot, So like when I came here 60 years ago now, nearly 60 years ago, it was a boom town then, and it was in transition. It's not anything near what it is now. In fact, George Street here were all bars and a lot of people.
Oh wow!
Yeah, all bars and
it's so
and
different.
cafes, so different, and the not uncommon would be is when did you get here and when are you leaving? It was a place to make money and then you left. If you look at it now, what we have in Prince George, in the region really, I introduce Prince George a lot of times as the capital of Northern British Columbia, and then it has taken that leadership role. But we have University of Northern British Columbia, the most popular small university in Canada, year after year after year after year, that and has been now here for about 30 years or so.
Yeah,
and
35, I think.
Or 35.
Yeah.
We had to fight for it to get a freestanding university, and I'm proud that I was part of the team that together with thousands and thousands of other people.
My grandpa, my family, they signed the
$5 one.
They did the $5, and then my grandpa was the superintendent for the library, so he was in charge of building the library.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect, right? And so that's what we have. And then the College of New Caledonia, I'm proud of that. I've been very involved in that. Obviously, we got John A. Brink Trades and Technology Center. I'm proud of that. And then, we have the library here, as you indicated. And then this swimming pool now has been changed. So Prince George in the region is becoming more and more a place that I'm proud living here. It's a family city, more and more so all the time. And as you say, I get the same, that I go to Costco and to pick up this, that, and so on. And then somebody comes walking up to me and says, I like your podcast. Oh, don't you?
Yeah. You just, it feels very much like a small town.
It does.
But it's not really a small town.
No, it isn't.
But it just, that's the feeling
yeah.
that it has, and it's nice.
And then more and more, Sylvia, in my opinion, it's still at the beginning because we are in the middle of British Columbia. Mm-hmm. So as I said in the introduction, we are 500 miles north of Vancouver, or mm-hmm. 800 kilometers, puts us in the center, north, south, east, west. Mm-hmm. And that takes another 500 miles, 800 kilometers to the Yukon border. And it is nature all throughout. And although we have challenges that go alongside with it, like forest fires, and all the other things, but still, as you do and as I do, I fly a lot. I'm a pilot as well, but if I fly commercial, I always sit by the window and I look outside and I tell myself, it's paradise. It is paradise.
It's beautiful. It's so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's so great, so. Any questions that you have of, what we're doing? And
So Terry Fox Run is happening September 15th at Clayton Tenay Memorial Park.
Okay.
Registration starts at 9 and then the run starts at 10. This is very close to home just because my grandpa was the one who started the Prince George to Boston Marathon in 1974, and he was the race organizer in 1979. So he was the one who told Terry that, yes, you can compete in the Prince George to Boston. And he actually rerouted the course for Terry and for Rick Hansen, because Rick Hansen came up that year, and they ran through the Miller edition because they were supposed to go up the staircase on Connaught Hill, which they couldn't do. So they ran through the Miller edition. So we actually run a part of the route that Terry ran on in 1979, and then we all know that after he ran his marathon, the 17 miles here, he knew that he was ready to run across Canada for his Marathon of Hope in the spring. And it's such a special connection that we have, Prince George has to Terry Fox. And so I'm really honored to continue that legacy and continue my grandpa's legacy. It's happening on the 15th. We've got lots of people coming. The Prince George Cougars just said that they're going to come. And so it's going to be a great day.
And more people can come from the region and the area, or from Vancouver or anywhere else.
Yeah,
right?
everyone's welcome. You can register online. You can register at the event. It's free. Obviously, fundraising or bringing a donation is always welcome, but you don't have to. You can just come to the park for a lovely Sunday morning stroll with your family
and then
friends.
another celebration to Terry Fox and all the things that he did.
Yeah, it's incredible.
To me, you are an inspiration. I love to have you on my podcast, and you're an inspiration to, as a young person still, you're a young woman, with all the things that you have done, the confidence that you have, the spirit that you have, the believing in who you are, where you are, and how lucky we are, and that is very, very important.
Thank you. Thank you.
And for all those people watching us, and together with Sylvia Masich, is that watching these podcasts that we do on the Brink, around the world, we have different podcasts, including all different categories of individuals and people that we believe are interesting from around the world. And obviously Sylvia is a good example of that. Subscribe to our podcast. I hope you like to see more of the ones that we do. Like it, share it, and make comments. And we want to be staying in touch through podcasting with the world. And as I said earlier, podcasting is just on its infancy, and much more will happen.
Yeah.
Sylvia, I'm going to give you a hug once we have our things off.
Okay.
It was a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
And let's make sure we stay in touch.
Yes.